Imagine spending like your entire life savings on a high-tech machine.
Oh, yeah. Big commitment.
Right. You secure this 5-year commercial lease, you're painting the walls, and you finally unlock your doors on launch day, only to realize you don't actually have the legally binding medical consent forms to treat your very first customer.
Which is absolutely terrifying.
It is. Or, you sit down at your phone to promote your grand opening, and you have absolutely no idea what to post on Instagram.
Staring at a blank screen.
Exactly. The anxiety alone is enough to just crush a new venture. So, have you ever wondered what it actually takes to bypass all of that? To launch a physical business from scratch without drowning in those incredibly expensive day-one mistakes?
Well, I mean, it's the ultimate entrepreneurial dream for so many people listening, isn't it? But traditionally, that dream comes with a really steep, sometimes totally insurmountable learning curve.
Oh, completely.
Because you're usually piecing together the technical skills from like one place and then the marketing strategy from a YouTube channel.
You're at some random guru.
Exactly. And the legal compliance from an expensive local lawyer. You're basically building an airplane while trying to fly it.
Which never works out well.
No, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's exactly why so many physical businesses fail in their first 90 days.
Which brings us to our mission today. Today's deep dive explores a literal masterclass in modern entrepreneurship. We are unpacking the ultimate salon success blueprint and the complete salon starter bundle from BodySlim.
A really fascinating case study.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at a bundle that promises to take someone from absolute zero experience to becoming a fully booked body sculpting salon owner.
Right.
And they are offering this entire launch pad for 1,997 Australian dollars. We're going to deconstruct how this training program is packaged, not just as, a typical educational course, but as a complete system designed to totally eliminate the friction that kills physical businesses.
And that framing is absolutely critical here, because my core belief has always been that knowledge is most valuable when it's practically applied.
Yes, exactly.
What we are looking at in BodySlim's curriculum isn't just a collection of beauty treatments. It is it's a comprehensive blueprint for turnkey business design. It's fascinating because it challenges the traditional, highly fragmented way people usually go about starting a clinic or a salon.
Right, but before you can run any business, obviously, you need a product.
You need something to sell.
You need a service to sell that actually works. So looking at BodySlim's curriculum, they provide over 140 hours of content across 5 distinct certifications.
Which is a massive amount of training.
It is. But what caught my eye wasn't just the sheer volume of hours, it was the biological strategy behind the techniques. It starts with what they call the foundation, which is fat freezing or cryolipolysis.
Right.
This is a 28-hour certification, valued individually at $499. BodySlim's materials highlight that this is actually Australia's most requested body sculpting treatment.
That makes sense?
Yeah, which makes it the ultimate hook to get clients through the door. But how does freezing someone's fat actually work without just giving them severe frostbite?
I know, it sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? Yeah. But the mechanism is actually based on a really elegant biological principle.
Okay.
So fat cells freeze at a much higher temperature than water does.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And because our skin and surrounding tissues are mostly water, a specialized machine can lower the temperature of a specific area just enough to crystallize the underlying fat cells.
While leaving the skin fine.
Exactly. The skin is completely unharmed.
Right.
Once those fat cells are crystallized, they die. And the body's natural lymphatic system just quietly flushes them out over the next few weeks.
That is wild. I keep thinking about this entire curriculum like remodeling a house.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right, because fat freezing is basically the demolition phase. You are clearing out the unwanted structure.
Exactly.
But you don't just demolish a wall and leave it there. You have to rebuild.
Right.
Which brings us to the second certification in the bundle, muscle stimulation, or EMS and HIMT.
Right.
They call this one the sculptor. It's another 28 hours of training valued at $399.
Yeah, and if the fat freezing is the demolition, EMS is definitely the framing. So EMS stands for electrical muscle stimulation, and HIMT is high-intensity electromagnetic muscle training.
That's a mouthful.
It is. But think of it this way. When you work out at the gym, your brain sends a signal to your muscles to contract.
Right.
Well, EMS and HOT machines bypass the brain entirely.
Right, really?
Yeah, they use electromagnetic fields to force the muscle to contract thousands of times in a matter of minutes.
Oh.
It induces what are called supramaximal contractions, and these are physically impossible to achieve through regular crunches or squats.
So you're just bypassing human limits.
Pretty much, and the biology dictates the business strategy here.
Hmm.
If a client wants true contouring, flushing out the fat is only step 1. Toning the underlying muscular structure is step 2.
Okay, so we've demolished the unwanted fat, we've built the muscular framing underneath, but what about the surface? I mean, if you lose a bunch of fat, aren't you left with loose skin?
You are, which
Well-
is the exact problem the third certification solves. They call it the smoother fat cavitation and RF skin tightening. Also 28 hours and valued at $399.
I noticed those acronyms in the source materials. Let's break those down for the listener. What exactly is cavitation and RF?
So cavitation uses low-frequency ultrasound waves. These sound waves travel below the skin, and they create these microscopic bubbles in the fluid surrounding the remaining stubborn fat cells.
Okay.
As these bubbles expand and pop, the pressure actually ruptures the membrane of the fat cell, turning it into a liquid that the body can easily process.
That is incredibly targeted.
It is. And then you follow that immediately with RF, which stands for radio frequency. RF is a controlled deep warming of the skin layers.
Oh, so heat instead of freezing.
Exactly. This heat effectively tricks the body into thinking there's been a minor injury, triggering a massive rush of fresh collagen and elastin production. It tightens and firms the skin exactly where the fat used to be.
Wow. So the cavitation is like the drywall, and the radiofrequency skin tightening is the final coat of paint.
Perfect analogy.
And finally, the fourth core technical skill in the bundle is laser lipolysis, or cold laser. They call it the precision tool.
Right.
This is a 25.5-hour certification valued at $399, and it targets fat at a cellular level. It's the precision trim work on our house remodel.
What's fascinating here is the underlying economic architecture of teaching these specific modalities together.
Okay, how so?
Well, by teaching this complementary suite of services, the training inherently boosts the lifetime value of the future salon's clients.
Oh, I see. So it's not just like a multi-course tasting menu. It's not just a random catalog of beauty classes.
Not at all. They aren't just teaching a student how to operate a machine, they are teaching them how to retain a client through sequential biological results.
Right.
Because if a client comes in just for fat freezing, their value to your business is capped after a couple of sessions.
Because the fat is gone.
Exactly. But if the business owner is trained to explain exactly how EMS will enhance that freezing and how radiofrequency skin tightening will polish the final look,
Then they keep coming back.
that single client transforms into a multi-session high-tech package. It creates a full-service offering that keeps the appointment book full because every single treatment organically demands the next.
That is just, it's brilliantly structured. You basically bake the business growth directly into the clinical training.
Yes.
But let's pivot for a second. Because having the clinical skills to deliver results is great, but how do you actually survive when a competitor opens up a clinic across the street and buys the exact same machines?
That happens all the time.
Exactly. We need to look at how BodySlim helps their students build a competitive moat.
And a competitive moat, in business terms for those listening, is that unique defensible advantage that protects your market share from copycats.
Precisely. And this is where the fifth certification comes in, the ContourIQ Elite Masterclass.
Right.
This is 32 hours of content. It's actually the most in-depth course in the entire bundle, valued on its own at $799. But the defining feature here is that ContourIQ is Australia's first and only trademarked body contouring technique.
Created by Tanya White.
Yes, the founder of BodySlim.
And the word trademarked
Yeah.
is the most powerful concept in that entire module. It means it is legally protected intellectual property.
Right.
No other trainer can legally teach this specific technique. So graduates of this program carry a globally recognized exclusive credential.
Which sets them apart.
Completely. That differentiates them in every single market.
Okay.
They aren't just another generic body sculpting clinic. They are certified ContourIQ practitioners.
Yeah.
That exclusivity is a massive selling point.
Exclusivity definitely draws a crowd. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
And honestly, where I need to play devil's advocate for a minute.
Bring it on.
So the bundle includes a signature bonus, a 45-minute one-on-one strategy call directly with Tanya White herself.
Valued at $297.
Right. And Tanya's materials point out that during this call, she will map out a custom launch plan covering council approvals, insurance, and finding TGA-compliant machines. But let's be entirely real for a second. How can a single 45-minute video call actually solve local bureaucratic nightmares, especially considering this program enrolls students worldwide?
That is a big claim.
Like, how does someone sitting in Australia give hyper-local zoning advice to a student opening a salon in Madrid or Miami in less than an hour.
It's a very fair critique. It does sound like a massive overpromise at first glance.
Right.
But let's look at the context provided by her background. Tanya is a Cert 4 accredited trainer with over 15 years of experience in the industry.
Okay.
And she has personally trained over 800 salon owners across 7 different countries.
Right. I hear that she has a ton of experience, but I still have to push back here. Doesn't a new owner still have to figure out their own local zoning laws?
Well, yes.
Like if I'm opening a clinic in Ohio, Tanya's global experience doesn't stop my specific city council from rejecting my permit if I fill out the form wrong?
That's exactly right. And she doesn't pretend to be an Ohio real estate lawyer writing your application for you.
Okay.
But what she provides in that 45 minutes is the framework to navigate any local bureaucracy. When you are a new business owner, you suffer from intense decision fatigue. You don't even know what questions to ask.
Oh, that's true. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. Tanya teaches them how to classify the business correctly. For example, local councils treat a medical clinic very differently than a non-invasive beauty salon.
Oh, wow, of course.
Right. Knowing which category to apply under changes your entire regulatory hurdle. She knows the universal sequence of steps to clear the red tape.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's about knowing the right language to use with the local authorities.
Exactly. And even more crucially, that call covers capital investment. Buying the wrong machine will tank a new business before it even opens.
Oh, I bet.
The curriculum emphasizes finding PGA-compliant machines. In Australia, the TGA is the Therapeutic Goods Administration, essentially their version of the FDA. By teaching students what regulatory benchmarks and safety certifications to look for, she prevents them from accidentally buying cheap, non-compliant, or downright dangerous imported machines that could void their insurance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a 45-minute conversation that stops you from making a $15,000 mistake on non-compliant equipment is arguably more valuable than weeks of generic business theory.
I see the value now. She's curing that analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
It's less about holding their hand to fill out a municipal form and more about saying, hey, classify your business this way, buy this specific standard of equipment, and secure this tier of insurance. That is a highly tactical roadmap.
It is. But this raises an important question, though.
What's that?
You can have the safest machines, right? The trademark certificates on the wall, the perfect council approval. But what happens if the phone never rings?
Right. There is an entire graveyard of highly trained, legally compliant businesses that failed simply because they couldn't get customers through the door.
Yeah.
I mean, how is a clinical technician supposed to suddenly become a digital marketer overnight?
That is universally the hardest pivot for any entrepreneur in the physical service space. They exhaust all their capital and energy just getting the doors open.
Oh, yeah.
By day one, they have absolutely zero bandwidth left to figure out customer acquisition or standard operating procedures.
And this is where BodySlim's system completely flips the script. They address this by including what they call done-for-you operational and marketing safety nets.
Which is huge.
It is. Let's look at the operations first. The bundle includes professionally written pre- and post-care instructions for every single modality we discussed earlier.
Wow.
Plus, they include the actual medical consent forms for every service, so the student is legally covered from their very first booking.
We really cannot overstate how important this is. Trying to draft legally binding medical consent forms without a legal background is terrifying for a new owner.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
Right. By providing these templates, BodySlim standardizes the client care and instantly mitigates a massive amount of liability and stress. It is a massive friction point entirely removed.
And then they tackle the ultimate friction point, marketing.
Right.
The bundle provides 30 ready-to-post Instagram posts strategically designed for every service.
30? That's a lot.
Yes. These include introductory posts to explain the science, coming soon, posts to build hype before the doors even open, and specific call-to-action posts to drive actual bookings.
That's incredible.
If you post every second day, that is 2 full months of social media content completely sorted. So what does this all mean for the listener? Staring at a blank screen, suffering from blank page syndrome, is the death of many local businesses.
Absolutely.
Technicians usually fail at marketing because they try to sell the features, like the specs of the machine, instead of the benefits, which are the biological results. By handing over exactly what to post, BodySlim removes the biggest bottleneck to revenue.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this completely reframes that 1,997 Australian dollar price tag.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the math.
When you tally up the individual values of the 5 certifications, the Elite Masterclass and the Strategy Call, the standalone value is $2,792.
Right.
So the bundle offers a direct saving of $795. But they aren't just selling discounted education, they are selling momentum.
I love that. Selling momentum.
Exactly. When you remove the anxiety of legal compliance and the mystery of equipment purchasing, and you hand over the marketing strategy on a silver platter, you allow the student's ambition to actually take root and grow.
And we have the data to back that up. The student testimonials in the Bodhislam materials provide some incredible real-world proof of this momentum.
Let's hear them.
Take Emma from Ballarat in Victoria. Her data shows that before training with Tanya, her highest ever single sale was $110.
Okay.
After applying the system, she regularly sells $1,000 to $2,000 packages, bringing in up to $2,250 in daily transactions.
Wow.
She literally took her family to Fiji with the profits.
That financial transformation speaks directly to the biological sequencing strategy we discussed earlier.
Oh, how everything layers together.
Yes. You don't magically jump from a $110 sale to a $2,000 package by just arbitrarily raising your prices.
Right.
You do it by bundling those complementary services. The demolition of the fat freezing, the framing of the EMS, the tightening of the RF into a comprehensive, high-value biological journey for the client. The client is paying for the transformation, not the hour of your time.
Which perfectly explains the math behind Claire's story.
Who's Claire?
Claire is from Portland, Victoria. She actually started as a fat-freezing client herself, getting ready for her wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then 7 years later, she came back to take the training. She was actually running a nail business at the time.
Okay.
Well, she quit the nail business, opened her body sculpting clinic, and scaled it to 5 machines in under 8 months.
Let's analyze the math of why a body sculpting clinic can scale like that compared to, say, a traditional nail salon.
Let's do it.
In a nail salon, your revenue is strictly capped by your physical labor. You can only paint one set of nails at a time, maybe making $60 to $80 an hour.
Right, you only have 2 hands.
Exactly. But a body contouring machine can run a 45-minute sequence treatment package that charges hundreds of dollars. And crucially, once the client is safely hooked up to the EMS or fat freezing machine, the machine does the work.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. If you have 5 machines running concurrently in different rooms, you have 5 active revenue streams that do not rely solely on one technician's manual labor.
That's incredible.
That is exactly why the recurring revenue model of sequence body sculpting makes scaling to 5 machines mathematically viable in just 8 months.
It's an entirely different economic model. And finally, we have Daphne in Perth, who runs Muse Body Sculpt.
Okay.
She started with just 600 Instagram followers. After utilizing the training, she grew her audience to over 2,500 highly engaged local followers and became fully booked. Her clinic is now one of the most recognized names in body contouring in Perth. That directly points back to the psychological power of that done-for-you social media content. It overcomes the blank page syndrome and actually converts scrollers into paying clients.
These testimonials provide the empirical evidence that this operational ecosystem works as designed. They really show that when you combine a high-demand, scientifically backed service with a frictionless operational launchpad, the results are rapid.
Yeah, they really are.
It proves that the business-in-a-box concept, when it is executed with genuine, battle-tested industry expertise, isn't just a marketing gimmick. It is a highly viable economic engine.
It really is. So let's quickly recap the journey we've taken today for you listening. We started with the terrifying premise of launching a physical business from scratch. And we've seen how Bodhislam attacks that problem with an incredibly integrated approach.
Right.
They don't just teach isolated skills. They combine sequential biological treatments where every step logically demands the next.
The tasting menu.
Exactly. They provide a legally protected, trademarked technique with ContourIQ to build a competitive moat. They offer high-level mentorship to cure decision fatigue and navigate regulatory frameworks.
Which is invaluable.
And finally, they provide done-for-you marketing templates and medical consent forms to remove operational friction entirely. It creates a robust launchpad that completely bypasses the traditional, piecemeal, exhausting way of starting a physical clinic.
It represents a total paradigm shift in vocational training. Instead of just teaching someone a localized trade, they are transferring a complete, fully functioning business ecosystem.
Which leaves us with a final, lingering question for you to ponder long after we wrap up today. We live in a modern economy that is absolutely obsessed with tech startups, coding the next viral app and chasing the dream of becoming a digital nomad working from a laptop on a beach.
Right.
But looking at the scalable math of these clinics, is it possible that the most lucrative, reliable, and fundamentally resilient frontier for new entrepreneurs isn't in the digital space at all? Could it actually be highly specialized, hyper-local, physical services powered, and made universally accessible by global online training systems exactly like this one? It makes you wonder if the smartest business in a box isn't floating in the cloud, but operating right there, quietly generating revenue in the salon just down your street.